She's never known a day of work-life balance.
No.
I hope someone gets her a pair of blue light glasses. Like, I can only imagine what her retinas must be fried.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back to And Just Like Yap. I am still Andi.
And I'm somehow still Caroline.
We are going to be shifting gears somewhat dramatically from All's Fair, a show about lawyers who maybe don't understand the law, to Industry, a show about people who work in trading, from two people who don't understand what that is at all, really. But we are here to talk about Industry. Season 4 is going to be coming out on Sunday, January 11th, which is in just a few days. So let's first recap where we left off with the main members of our business class Scooby-Doo gang. And then we will get into recapping the trailer, which just came out. So Harper started season 3 in like one of the more powerless positions we've seen her in, which is an administrative role. As someone who has worked an administrative role, you do not feel like you have any power in that situation at all, but Harper being Harper, she finds a way. She's working at Future Dawn, and she connects with our girl Petra, played by the same actress who is on D.A.R.E. So Harper and Petra connect, and then they decide to defect from Future Dawn. And Harper being Harper, she decides to announce this publicly without clearing it with Petra first at this climate conference that everybody is at. Also in this season, she kind of helps Yasmin cover up a kind of murder of her father. And she also ends up being, so this is part of her helping Yaz kind of cover up the kind of murder.
Well, yeah, it's a weird thing throughout the season that because it starts like in a flashback where we don't really know what all the information is like until towards the end of the season. Also,
Yaz and Harper, because their friendship is so toxic, get into a fight where they slap each other because Harper is responsible for Yaz losing her job. Yaz gets fired. The two slap each other. It's a crazy, crazy scene. I'm so toxic because, like, I love when Yaz and Harper are, like, friends. Oh. I love it. I'm like, the world is better in Industry when Harper and Yaz are friends, but their friendship is so fucking toxic. And then we end season 3 with Harper is getting bored at Future Dawn because everything's going so well, and like Harper can't handle
chaos agent. She chaos loves at all times.
Exactly. And so she goes and talks to Otto Mostyn, who I don't remember exactly what his deal is, but he's like in the Henry Muck money world, and she decides she wants to start a hedge fund with him that is like all shorts, and both of them understand that they are comfortable with insider trading, basically.
Yeah, because their thing was like they want to do shorts where they sort of root out like fraud companies that like they're not like what they say they are.
It'll like on the face look like they're like a white knight like doing a good thing, but also like they've agreed that they're okay getting insider information by any means. This came about because Harper did that with Petra, and Petra was really upset and tattled to Otto, and Otto was like, ooh, that's my kind of gal. The other crazy thing is that Harper wants to go back to New York, which the whole series, Harper has been running away from New York, not wanting to go back to New York. So that is going to be an interesting thing to explore in the next season. In general, the band is very much breaking up. Let's move on to Eric Tao.
My boy.
I have such mixed feelings about this character because I love Ken Leung, but I hate this character so much. So the beginning of the season, Eric is separated from his wife. He's also really doing a terrible job of co-parenting his kids. He's, of course, angry at Harper for pretty much the entire season. This scene is when he comes to Leviathan Alpha to shout at her because basically, I don't know how to explain it correctly, but Harper's actions with Leviathan Alpha are basically exposing just how much in the shit Pierpoint is. Eric is company man first, Pierpoint above all else. So he's really pissed about this because Harper taking a shot at Pierpoint is basically taking a shot at Eric's daddy.
Well, he was like, because they're so bonded because he was her mentor, and she's just like, she's at the point now where she's sort of like outpaced Eric, and she doesn't need him anymore.
And it sort of speaks to like, I don't know, current business culture where like you have these older people who have been with companies for a long time. They're still very loyal to the companies. And you also have younger people at the same time who are like, I can go out on my own and figure it out. I have like grit and I can make something new. The two of them really like embody that conflict. Eric does help save Pierpoint from insolvency. Bill Adler is trying really, really hard to get like a Mitsubishi deal to happen because Pierpoint is like going down the tubes. They're all staying up late all night in one office, like trying to hammer this out. And I can't remember her name, but one of the other higher ups is like, Bill Adler's just using you as a useful idiot, which causes Eric to then betray Bill Adler. And this was really, really, really dark. So Bill Adler has brain cancer, but has been keeping it a secret and revealed it to Eric. Eric uses it against him in an acquisition meeting and is like, you did notice that there was like an issue in the deck. You just said so in the bathroom now. You don't remember? And makes him look bad and foolish in front of everybody and not trust his own brain. We then find out at the end of the season that Bill Adler dies, which is just devastating. Eric does successfully save Pierpoint because they get acquired by Al Mirage, an Egyptian sovereign wealth fund. And then, of course, Eric is assigned to, like, rally the troops the next morning because everybody at Pierpoint is like, what the fuck? Eric pulls it off, only to then come back, like, however many months later. The name has been changed to Al Mirage Pierpoint. His position has been liquidated. They've given him like $20 million in severance, which is like, for anybody else.
It's crazy. I know, honestly, this is giving me PTSD from having worked at a startup for 7 years, because like the amount of like layoff culture you go through, it's just like, it is such a stressful thing once like the first one happens, because you're like, oh, well, this is going to happen again in a year. And you just like have to live through the anxiety of like, okay, everyone's shrinking around you, and it's just, it's a very toxic culture. So this, like, if you've worked in, like, finance or startups, like, this show is, like, not relaxing at all. It activates, like,
I'm
sleeper
sure.
cell. Yeah.
Yeah, and I come on the other side of the coin from the nonprofit arts admin world where nobody ever gets fired. They just continue to suck at doing their job for multiple generations, and everyone resents them. Anyway, yeah, so Eric gets let go, and for anybody else, a $20 million severance would be totally fine, very, very comforting, but not for him. He goes back to his desk and cries because baby loves job. Baby don't know what to do without job.
It's his whole identity. Yeah, he's like, that's like, we're seeing the consequences of his actions that, like, again, your job should not be your life. Your job, they don't care about you. Your job is not your family. You keep, separation of job and state. Like, you gotta, like...
You must.
You gotta have a whole life outside of it, because it will crush you. It will do that in this world.
Especially a job like this, which I can't even fathom. I barely understand what these people have been doing for 3 seasons at this job, so I can't even fathom. Let's move on. Oh boy, I put Rishi in the middle because it's really dark and we're gonna need a palate cleanse after this. At the start of the season, we realized that, first of all, Rishi is going to become a bigger character in this season, which I was really excited about. Yeah. I always liked Rishi. He's had some of the funniest one-liners throughout the entire series. And it becomes obvious very quickly that he is in financial trouble, clearly due to gambling debts and God knows what else, also like risky moves at Pierpoint. Yeah. So he's like hitting up his coworkers for money to help him pay off his debts under the guise that he's gonna like rebet it. We get Caroline, you love a screenshot of a phone. This is a pretty bad one.
This one stresses me out. The red is just like, the red just takes you immediately back to college and getting a paper back that's like,
oh yeah,
see me after class, and it's like,
yeah. So Rishi is very, very, very badly in debt, but he also has purchased a house in the suburbs with his new wife and their new baby, and the like loan shark, who is an old friend of his who has been lending him money that Rishi has not been paying back, Vinay, comes to visit them, and it's like really, really ominous, and Diana has no idea what's going on. Yeah, Rishi just continues to spiral. He's in the elevator going down, 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 down.
Oh, God.
He gets beat up after, like, he bet a bunch of money. He won a bunch of money, and it was all going to be, like, kind of fine. And then he bets it again and loses it again, goes on a bender all night, ends up like this in the morning. He finally, like, as Pierpoint is going down the tubes and they can't even hire somebody to, like, clean up the office, which, by the way, these people are disgusting. Like, someone's not coming in and cleaning for you and it gets this bad. Like, people with money are so gross. I've said this before.
Yeah.
All of the housewives, like, let their dogs shit in their house. And, like, this is what that reminds me of.
It's because they don't have to worry about that. They're in, like, they're not tethered to reality. Like, it's, when you're dealing with that much money, like, you're not worried about, like, the things we're worried about. Like, you can't, you're not able, like, that's, like, you know, Kim going on that one podcast, like, I think it was Call Her Daddy, and she didn't know how much a gallon of milk cost.
Yeah, exactly. It's very Lucille Bluth. Like, it's one banana, Michael. How much could it cost? $10.
Yeah.
Soon, one banana will cost $10. So Rishi decides that he's going to, like, make a grand exit from Pierpoint because he's had some irons in the fire with Harper, Leviathan Alpha. That does not work out for him because this is a crazy scene. He goes for his meeting at Leviathan Alpha, and Harper basically turns this into, like, I don't know,
she's like
shame kink. Yeah, like a shame kink situation, and invites Sweet Pea in the room to watch Harper reject Rishi. So couldn't possibly go lower and has. And then, oh my God. I couldn't believe this. I really couldn't believe this. The episode ends, the season ends with Rishi's wife, Diana, getting shot in the head by Vinay at Rishi's, like, temporary single guy apartment because
Rishi's birthday cake.
Yes. Into the birthday cake that Diana brought over.
White cake and blood everywhere.
Everywhere. Diana brought the cake over for Rishi's birthday because they're separated. I have no idea where the hell this character is going to go from here. Like, this is...
Like, what is going to happen with the child? I just have a lot of questions, like, if we're getting a time jump between the two seasons. Because I feel like there's so much that they, like, sort of left that were, like, big character things. I was like, it would make sense to me if we have a time jump in between the two seasons.
Yes, absolutely. What I find so interesting about this character is that, like, this character sort of embodies, like, yes, we have decided that, like, the stock market and trading is a real thing, obviously. But if you actually look at it, it's basically just gambling. It's sanctioned gambling that we've all decided is, like, totally fine. A totally fine way for us to, like, run the national economy, the global economy.
And it's like these type of men are, like, very real, and I definitely experienced a lot of this working in a startup, and it's, like, a very just, like, intense energy, because it's, like, they let you just think that, like, money is more important than, like, actually being ethical.
Yes.
And if how dare you bring, like, ethics into a conversation and, like, what that can be. So it's definitely a very real type of person to be around, and it's, like, really, it's a very intense energy to have.
Yeah, and they make Rishi the embodiment of that, because he takes it out of the office and into his real life. Like, this, he's really good at his job as a trader. He is not good at his job as a real guy he's a human, guy who's, like, playing with his money and his family's money. So that is dark. We will see where that goes next season. Then we move on to Yaz, I have such a soft spot for Yaz. I love her so much, even though she's so deeply flawed. She begins the season having a horrible time on a boat that is named after her. There are time jumps in here, but I'm just gonna, like, handle this chronologically as it happened. Yaz walks in on her father 69ing with one of his boat staff members who is pregnant. It is one of the most horrifying images I have ever seen on television. They are doing this in Yaz's room on the boat, which is disgusting. This, of course, then develops into a huge fight where Yasmin is like, you've been the worst fucking father in the world. Her father also reveals that, like, once he goes back to London, like, he's gonna be indicted, I guess, for, you know, not having any fucking money and doing horrible things, and you know, I can't explain it, but
and it's also, like, it's definitely, this is parallels unfortunately, to Jeffrey Epstein. This, like, plot line on purpose was this and, like, Ghislaine Maxwell. So, like, it's definitely a 1-to-1, like, with that this season.
Yes. And so he is, you know, drunk on drugs, angry. Yaz says, like, you should just die. It would be the most meaningful thing you ever did. And then he says, maybe I fucking will. And of course he jumps in the water, immediately asks Yaz for help, and Yaz just freezes.
Yeah.
And doesn't do anything, doesn't stop the boat, doesn't tell the captain. She snaps out of it and, like, tries to get, like, the lifesaver, but, like, it's too late. Like, he's already gone. And so she didn't murder him per se, but, like, she didn't help him not drown. She then meets Henry Muck, the CEO of Lumi and also a member of the British peerage. He is playing handball in what looks like the basement of a Jane Austen estate.
I know.
They hook up. There's more to it, but they end up hooking up. She ends up peeing on him because he's really into that. Later in the season, after a lot of other stuff happens, she goes back to Sir Henry Muck's royal estate and ends up, I think this guy's his godfather or uncle
it's
or
uncle
whatever.
Or godfather or both.
Yeah, but anyway, he, like, basically controls the British press. He gives her a very fatherly hug because she's in this horrible situation where her father is gone, so she's the one taking all the flack for the horrible stuff that's coming out on him. Hanani Publishing, her father's company, wants to basically make her the scapegoat. So in order to get herself out of it, she makes some moves, and I think they were pretty directly influenced by this very fatherly hug, which was absolutely very manipulative on Lord Norton's part. He knew exactly what he was doing. I love this next sequence of events because you can tell she has made up her mind with what she's going to do. Therefore, she feels like she needs to do this next thing, which is she goes on a walk through Sir Henry Muck's garden with Robert, who has been her best friend and, like, confidant and punching bag. Yeah, a puppy dog punching bag this entire series. They have sex in the garden. They say I love you to each other. It's actually, like, really beautiful and heartbreaking. And she does this so that she can then basically go tell Henry, like, we should get married. She says we need to be practical. I mean, Yaz is at her lowest moment. She's used to a certain lifestyle. She's used to a certain public standing. This entire season, she's been hounded by paparazzi. She's lost her job. She has lost all of her money. This is the smartest move that she could make. It's just absolutely devastating. She and Henry announce at dinner that night that they're getting engaged, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. In a time jump, we leave her serving cunt in Real Country as a thoroughly modern Lady Muck. And then to cap off the end of this upsetting season, she ends up hiring the woman who her father was fooling around with on the boat in order to keep this woman from, like, spilling the truth of what actually happened. But then this woman kindly is like, by the way, your father obviously was a known sex pest, but he was also a known pedophilic sex pest. And I just want you to know, like, if that ever happened to you, you're seen and protected. Yasmin cries, falls into her arms, and then storms out and says, get rid of her. Because Yasmin does not want to acknowledge that reality. She took the small amount of comfort that she felt like she could take, and then she was like, fuck this bitch, I don't want to see her ever again because she knows too much. And then our sweet, sweet Robert, he begins season 3 babysitting Henry Muck at Lumi. Where they get
which is
into
it's a green energy company.
Yeah.
Which is, like, one of my favorite things about industry that they've sort of figured out season to season is that they've figured out what the, like, general financial thing is that they're mocking. And as someone who's, like, worked in tech, I was like, yeah, these, like, startups were like, oh, we have this grand idea. They're given hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they, like, fuck it up and they, like, lose all the money. There's, like, never anything that comes out of it. I feel like the peak era for this, like, when I was, like, in this sort of industry was like 2015 to like 2017. It felt like there were so many startups getting like handed millions and millions of dollars. The like holiday parties were on level of like going to like private clubs in Vegas. It just was a very crazy thing. So it's like, I love that they found a way to sort of dig into these different aspects of the industry every season.
Yes, absolutely. And exposing them for what they are, which is like absolute frauds. It's so funny because I remember this was around the time that like Airbnb sprung up and Uber sprung up, and like those companies weren't necessarily calling themselves like green or sustainable per se, but that was part of it. The idea being like, not everybody needs to have a car. You know, pollution is bad. And like anything else, all of these things have become just like money-making ventures that fuck over the consumer, fuck over the people who are actually driving the cars, renting their houses, what have you. Yeah, so the ones that succeed because they become absolutely like evil money-grabbing institutions, and everybody else just fails because they were peddling a bunch of bullshit.
Also, why we hate Airbnb, they're actually ruining the housing industry in the U.S.
Yes.
They're often why you are priced out of being able to own a home currently, because it's all corporations buying the houses and then we can't buy one.
Yeah. Also, you're like, well, this Airbnb, the pictures look nice, and then you get there and you're like, oh, I'm in someone's shed in their backyard with all their old college furniture. Great.
And you're paying $400 to do work at the end of the time.
Correct.
You leave there.
Correct.
Baby,
Yes.
we are hotel people. We love rewards. We love a Hampton Inn. We love a Marriott.
Yes.
And we love an IHG.
Okay, so Robert's babysitting Henry Muck. Meanwhile, he's also still having sex with Nicole, and this situation is so fucked up because there's some like mommy shit going on for sure. So he's still fucking Nicole until she dies next to him. He wakes up wearing matching pajamas with her, and she is dead next to him outside in her gorgeous backyard. This was fucking crazy. I could not believe this. Like, similar to like Rishi's wife getting killed, like this show really like lulls me into a state of like, I don't understand what's going on with any of the business stuff. All the relationships are crazy, and then something like this happens and I'm like, what the fuck? So Nicole dies. Robert does ayahuasca with Henry, and of course Henry wakes up from his trip and is like, we have to find a way to monetize this. That was his big takeaway from his ayahuasca thing in the journey. World. Yaz is living at Robert's house that he bought and is like trying to fix up. They are like clearly so in love and best friends and like fully, you know, emotionally relying on each other. He mentions like regarding Henry, like, you're destined to marry your dad, and they have a big laugh about it. Turns out Yaz is going to end up marrying Henry. This amazing scene after they announce their engagement, and then we get like a look of the table as if it's just the two of them at the table, and Yaz says, I'm sorry, and Robert says, I understand, and they don't actually ever have this conversation. They just look at each other, but they just knew because they know each other so well.
Yeah, it made me think of, like, I loved the estate scenes in Succession, and it reminded me, like, a lot of this bore on the floor. Ugh!
Yeah.
Bore on the floor. So it's like, I really, like, it's, I don't know, it's such a thing, like, where they get to, like, go out of the industry to, like, sort of see what happens in these cultures of, like, the people who are wealthy, like, and this is, like, how they live. It's
also very Pride and Prejudice. Like,
totally. Very Jane Austen.
Yes, exactly. Being on this big, grand British estate with all of these, like, rich, wealthy people who are, like, both related to each other actually and also not. And also the idea of just, like, the two of them can't be together because ultimately of the wealth disparity. You know, like, Yaz needs somebody who is going to fund her existence and put her in good public standing. And you have that moment where he, like, they're at the gas station on the road trip on the way to Henry Muck's, and he does, like, the lottery ticket. Yeah, and it's like they can't be together because of their, like, wealth and social standing and those differences.
There's an amazing song they play over this scene. I meant to look it up before that. It's like the lyrics are like, I, like, love you, but you're always going to be, like, odds and ends. And it's this, like, I was like, oh, my God. Because, like, I think, like, every person has sort of had that moment where it's like, I love the idea of you, but the logistics of you are
not going to work. Yeah. Oh, the song was amazing. I was sobbing. I was on the couch next to Jim, and I turned to him afterward, and I was like, I'm destroyed. Like, I just want these two to be together so badly because, like, they actually see each other for who they are and all of their flaws and, like, still love each other. And they've treated each other so badly, too, particularly, like, Yaz to Robert.
I mean, throwback to season 1 when she was like, come on this mirror and eat it.
God, I forgot about that.
I never forget. That was like the three. When I was watching it all in like 1 week, like a year and a half ago, I was like, what am I? I was like, I watch a lot of crazy stuff. And this was like.
Industry has those moments. We leave Robert at the end of the season with his new curly flow going on.
I know.
I believe he has gone to California to work for Little Labs, which is this company peddling psychedelic mushrooms. Or is it LSD? I don't remember.
Who's to say? I couldn't. I've never tried
medicinal
one.
higher level drugs that my D.A.R.E program ass has never tried. I do smoke a lot of weed though, so apologies to the D.A.R.E lion, Darren the D.A.R.E lion for that, but
it's okay.
It's okay.
The cops were getting paid like a bonus to do that. I think I took a picture of my D.A.R.E essay I wrote when I was going.
Oh my God.
Hold on, is it in my phone? I did get an A. It says in red at the top of my essay. I think the D.A.R.E program is fun, and it's a wonderful class to take because it teaches kids the effects of drinking, taking drugs, huffing, and smoking. Also, it teaches you to be yourself and not be depressed because it leads to smoking marijuana or drinking. I also learned Officer Briggs would tell us a story about him catching a girl who said she didn't have any marijuana, but she really did. The girl said she was paid $50 to take the marijuana and leave it at a table at the fair. And D.A.R.E has learned the 8 ways to say no. For example, some of the ways are walking away, broken record, cold shoulder, and avoiding situation. I have learned that cigarettes give you lung cancer or heart disease. I have learned any drug makes you lose your friends. That you can get arrested for using drugs. Your reputation will be lost if you... Did I take a picture of the back? Hold on. Oh, I did. Okay, take drugs or drink. Your grades will fall if you take antidepressants. I think it's important for everyone to be drug-free and avoid violence because people are killed every day because of violence and drug drivers. Also, I think it's important because we need to set a good example to the next generation because they might think they can take a gun to school or think that they can take drugs. I also think that if more people are drug-free and said violence and avoid violence, that means less people are depressed, which means less people are committing suicide.
You really had it in for depressed people. You did not like that.
I did not. I did not know about depression. I was like, wow, 8 years old.
You were like, those people use drugs. They're bad.
They're bad.
My God. Was the D.A.R.E program also teaching you not to take antidepressants? Like, was that one of the drugs
Probably 1998, probably. Like, we didn't know what SSRIs were. Now we've ended our D.A.R.E corner. Let me take you to the season 4 industry trailer. The music they're using in the trailer already got me so excited because it makes me think of the music that's in Marty Supreme, which is currently my favorite movie of existence. I associate that music so much with finance stuff because I think of, like, Wolf of Wall Street. Well, like, it's very much that energy of, like, we're on drugs, we're on cocaine, like, there's no greater high than, like, getting a bunch of money, and I think that's just something that's so interesting about, like, their way of tackling this world. I also think it's interesting because it is something we haven't mentioned is like it's written by 2 people from the UK. So I think it's interesting that it's like taken initially from a lens from the UK and not America, which I think is such an interesting choice. But we are brought at the beginning of the trailer. We see our girl Harper. She is looking out the buildings and we hear this voiceover of Eric talking about we might be standing on the verge of something great. And I was like, great, this means everything bad is about to happen. With industry, things like seem great and then it's going to be bad very quickly. We cut to our girl Yasmin. It looks like she's at some like ball or something. We see her like sort of hints of her life with Henry. And Eric, we don't know if he's also in New York. We kind of don't really know from like what we see in the trailer, but I'm assuming, I don't think he's in London anymore. And Harper is like back to her tricks, working with Eric, and she's like, well, what part of that is meant to be a problem for us? Because that's always been Harper's thing, is nothing is a problem for her. It's just like an inconvenience for getting her through the next thing. Because Harper is always number one.
She's always number one. Also, like, she always just manages to get out of, like, every possible snag. She's very clever.
Yeah, and it's so intoxicating because I think like these are characters you normally see written for men. Amazing and intoxicating to see like an anti-hero written like this, like as a woman and as a woman of color. I can never predict where Harper's going to go. I mean, I'm still haunted by when she made that trade in season 1 and her tooth fell out. Because there's nothing more violent to me than when, like, teeth stuff happen. Like, I can't handle it. Yeah, so we just sort of see the foundation of, like, okay, Harper hasn't changed. She's like, how is this a problem? Like, nothing is a problem. We see Henry in, like, a kilt or something. I'm like, okay, he's back up to his old money tricks. We are introduced to, like, our new company, like, hint called Tender, Tendr, like, money. I'm assuming it's like a Venmo company, is what I think.
Probably. I do think it's very interesting that they decided to choose a company name that's one letter difference from Tinder. And this actor, who we love from, he was in Handmaid's Tale, he's been in Mindy Project.
Yeah. Great eyebrows, great brows, but he's the CEO. We get like a quick glimpse like of this new company, and here's Kelpin behind him. We hear the like music and the like backdrops of like the insane artwork that they'll put at a startup of like, money is the future, money is the wings behind you that will fly you to your next destination, like nonsense, like words like that. And we see him talking to Henry, so we hear that he wants him to like be the face of Tinder, and he's on stage at some like IPO offering maybe again, or some sort of big company outing. And then, speaking of Sally, we have Kiernan Shirka is a brunette. Sally, she's gone from being an 8-year-old on Mad Men to now she is a grown
8-year-old smoking cigarettes.
She's now a brunette drinking in a New York bar. I'm assuming she's an employee at Tinder. Interesting to go from like, I think because she did like Mad Men, and then Sabrina on Netflix, and then now Industry. So I'm sort of curious to see what the character arc is going to be for her. But like, I'm intrigued by the casting for this season. Henry and Yasmin are still allegedly together, but then we see, are they having a threesome where Kiernan is involved? I think that's the brunette in the dark lighting.
Oh boy.
And and Yasmin is watching with a cigarette, now telling her to spit on it as she watches, because Yasmin is no stranger to kink. There's no kink she doesn't like. A kink is normal. That's just every day of life to Yasmin.
And she is bossy in sexual situations. Very bossy.
Very bossy. I mean, Carrie would be so embarrassed to talk to Yasmin. Like, Yasmin and Samantha would be besties.
Yes, absolutely.
And we cut to this shot of Henry saying, like, who the fuck did I marry? Because we see, obviously, Yasmin is going to get him into something crazy. And she's like, shouldn't you know that, darling? And I was like, oh, man. Yasmin always has to be in charge. And then we find out this reporter calls Harper. They're working on a story on Tinder. Something is amiss. And, of course, this means probably Harper and Yasmin will be at odds. She's going to go behind her back with whatever's going on. We cut to our girl, Sweet Pea, has a black eye. We don't know why or how. I was wondering, this is not our friend from season 1 who left. This is a new character, I think, but he looks familiar.
Behind her?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it is not. But I think that's a new character.
New character. Okay, so new character we haven't met. We don't know if she's still working with Petra or what's happening there. And Harper's talking to the new hot guy from Tinder. Maybe they're going to be sexually intertwined. I don't know. We find out there's, like, market manipulation. And I love that Harper's, like, penthouse apartment is just files. Like, there's no furniture. I was like, God, she's never known a day of work-life balance ever.
No, because in so many other instances in the show, she's just living out of a hotel, like, eating room service cheeseburgers and, like,
with,
has her
6
whole
monitors.
Exactly. Exactly. So it makes sense that this is how she's living.
I hope someone gets her a pair of blue light glasses. Like, I can only imagine what her retinas must be fried. Like, I can only imagine. And we see that, like, they're getting into, I was like, I love this cunty little top she's wearing. Harper just looks very cunty. Her and Yasmin, everyone looks very cunty throughout. And we stand that, like, something big is going to happen with Tinder. We throw a chair.
Classic.
My girlies are at the club on drugs. I'm assuming they're on Molly or some, form of amphetamines. Everything D.A.R.E the Lion was telling them not to do. D.A.R.E the Lion. They said
they're gonna be depressed and jobless and bringing guns to school very soon.
Any day now. Rishi. We get a shot, like, halfway through the trailer. Rishi is back. His head is shaved. I'm sure chaos will follow with Rishi. I don't know what to expect. And Yasmin says we ride together, we die together. And Henry and a hot new guy, I don't know, they're very intimate. I was like, maybe they're going to kiss. And I was like, heated rivalry. Lean into heated rivalry. More men kissing in 2026. I love my boys. Hello, Connor. Hi, Hudson. I love my boys. More kissing. More men on men kissing in 26. If you think we're not addressing heated rivalry, buckle up.
It's going to be mentioned a lot.
Yeah. And we see that Almirage Pierpoint is still a thing. They're still running the company. We don't know, like, what influence they're going to have on the season. And Sweet Pea is at the end of a beach, like, facing the ocean, like she's going to kill herself. As we get a voiceover about the world will own you if you don't harden up. Henry's crying. We're back at some, like, rich people dinner where they're dressed in, like, wigs. And Yasmin's yelling at him dressed as Marie Antoinette. Sweet Pea's throwing glass at a mirror. We see Yasmin walking through like a TMZ sort of tabloid. They're getting paparazzi in the face. Harper's like, I'm good at everything. More naked people having sex. Get out. But whose end? And we're industry. Chaos. Everyone is going, their lives are going to fall apart. Spoiler alert, probably.
God, this show.
I've already ready. I need a beta blocker prescription for this show. Like, I already know I'm going to be stressed out.
I know.
But
it looks like it's going to be a stressful season.
It looks very stressful, but we're very excited. Excited for y'all to join us for our weekly recaps of Industry Season 4. Also, a thing to mention that we didn't talk about that I love, Lena Dunham directed the pilot, if you want to go back.
Did she?
Yeah, she directed the pilot. And I thought that was like such an interesting thing. It's one of my favorite pilots where we're following a character and they meet a very tragic end and we never see that character again. And it was like indicative, I think, of the theme of this entire series of how this industry will kill you. And you'll be disposed of just as quickly as you get into it. So it's like a dog eat dog, and it's Yasmin eats Harper and Harper eats Yasmin, Harper eats Eric. It's, we'll see what's in store. I'm ready. What are we feeling?
I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm also excited for us to be recapping our first like HBO prestige drama. I mean, unless you consider And Just Like That.
I do. I consider prestige every day. So I'm curious to see how it's going to be received, but thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully this gets you amped up and ready to do a couple lines of blow and watch Industry every week with us. We'll be on Instagram, TikTok. Let us know in the comments, and we will see you soon, Pierpoint babies.
Bye.
Bye.